Hello, everybody, or anybody, if anybody actually sees this video. I know I haven't been here for quite some time because I was honestly battling between whether this is something I wanted to continue to try or not, while also transitioning in my journey. I shared in a previous video that I recently moved from Washington to Georgia, and I have been having some issues with the new place that I live in. So that's part of the reason why I'm here. And I wanted to make this video today due to stress and exhaustion of just trying to get acclimated to a new area, get my apartment furnished, completely starting over from scratch. When I left Washington, I left with literally 4 suitcases, and I had donated all of my large furniture or gave it away, um, other than a few sentimental items that I packed and placed in storage, which I have to go back to retrieve. I pretty much came here with nothing, and it's been difficult because I started off my journey staying with my daughter and her family for like the first 2 months. And I knew that wasn't something that was going to be sustainable for me for a long period of time. So I quickly began looking for places, and they were kind enough to help me. And I found something that I thought would be a good fit for me, because part of the reason I moved from Washington is because I was dealing with a lot of racism and harassment from a neighbor there. And it was very traumatic. On top of being autistic, like nobody seemed to give a damn about what this was doing to me psychologically. It caused me to drink every day just to be able to cope because I was alone, and I knew it wasn't healthy, but I didn't know how else to deal with what I was dealing with. Um, so, not having any friends and not being in touch or having contact with my family of origin, who are also very toxic, so I cut them out. I only have pretty much contact with my 3 adult children, and they have their own lives, and they encouraged me a lot to move. Um, Especially my daughter here in Georgia, she was one of the main people to encourage me to just get out of Washington State altogether. And as a last resort, because I was afraid. I was afraid that something bad was going to happen, that I was either going to have a breakdown or worse, and I just needed to leave. So that's what I did. And I got started here, and I found a place that I thought would be really good for me. And I made sure I requested a unit that was on like the top level. So here, the highest level is 3 as far as the complex goes. So I needed to make sure I had a third floor apartment unit for my own physical safety, for my own mental health, after dealing with being on a third floor and having a fourth floor neighbor stalk me. And I'll tell you more about what that looked like. So since being here, I've been in this apartment now since October, and almost immediately I started dealing with this same type of things, but this time it's happening from the neighbor under me. So, just over there in the living room, when I first moved in, I didn't have that big couch that you see back there. There was nothing in here except my desk where I work from home 10 hours a day, and my chair, and I had it against another wall, opposite of the couch. And when I moved in here, automatically, boom, boom, up underneath my desk in my seat where I was sitting every day. And I thought, that is weird. But I tried to calm myself down. PTSD, um, from I've had PTSD for many years, but with the recent trauma I had dealt with in Washington, it was even more heightened, and I have been really, really extra sensitive since that time in regards to loud banging noises. And I thought, okay, I just moved here. I don't want to come in making complaints. I just got here, dang, I was hoping that this would be different for me. But maybe this person isn't aware that there's somebody new in the unit above them. So I'll give them grace. Maybe it's a kid playing around with something and throwing it against the wall or the ceiling, who knows. So I'm giving them grace. Yet I was being triggered and stressed out every day for several weeks. And it continued every day. So my initial thing was to report to management after 3 weeks. I decided I'm not gonna, knock on this person's door or confront them face to face. I'm in a new city. I don't know anyone except my daughter and her family, and I'm not trying to get out here and create beef with anybody for my own safety. So I contacted the manager, and she immediately, like, I could hear her chuckling on the phone, and she's telling me that, oh no, this person has lived here for so many years. They've never had any complaints on them. And, usually they're asleep by the time, you're saying that these sounds are occurring. And why don't we come up? Like, can we just come up there and hear, what the noise sounds like? And that immediately put me off. All of that information was odd. First of all, you're the manager and you're sharing personal information about another tenant with me. So that put me on guard, thinking, well, if you're sharing information about them with me, that means you'll share information about me with them. So that put me on guard. And it almost felt like she just wanted to have a reason to come in my apartment, maybe, and look around. I don't know. I've been through a lot, so that's just how my mind works. It's like CSI all the time up in my brain. So I was immediately like, no, that doesn't work for me. But I'd appreciate it if you'd let that tenant know that there is someone residing above them, and I'd appreciate it if they could stop doing whatever it is they're doing every day. And she said, she would handle it, whatever. So a couple of days go by, and it's quiet, for the most part, other than just normal everyday noises, which I expect to hear. But after that, immediately the boom, boom, like somebody is throwing, I don't know what, a medicine ball up to the ceiling or standing on something and banging against the wall directly underneath where I sit. So I moved my desk. I was like, okay, maybe they're working out or something. I don't know. Here I am giving grace again, trying to, figure it out and not think the worst. So I said, you know what, this weekend, I'm going to move my desk to another area. And I did that. And immediately in the new area where I moved my desk, same thing started happening. Boom, boom, right up under my desk, right up under my seat. I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I notify them again, okay? And they say they're gonna discuss this with that person. So then I begin asking them questions like, does this person work here? Are they a friend of yours? Because you seem to know a lot about them. You seem to know a lot about their schedule and their sleeping, habits. So, like, is this someone you know personally? Oh, no, no, I can assure you, blah, blah, blah. But it really doesn't seem like it because I work from home. So I'm going to be in the house all day. Um, why are they in the house all day? It's a pretty penny to rent these units. So if I'm in the house all day working, And they're in the house all day, seemingly not to work because they seem to be preoccupied with where I am and banging on the ceiling in those areas. This is weird. Okay. So then it started in the new area where my desk was. And then it began happening in my bedroom at night, where I could feel my bed actually wobble from the impact of whatever it was they're doing down there. So I'm like, okay, now you're messing with my sleep. This is a problem. I contact management again. And mind you, I have been communicating with them via email, because after my first interaction with that manager and talking with her over the phone and hearing her amusement about the whole situation, I decided I need to begin documenting the incidents and not speaking with them over the phone. That way I could have a record of what they're saying and what I'm communicating with them as well. So I let them know that, I prefer communication in writing rather telephone. And if I did have a telephone conversation, I immediately followed that up by sending a written response, just going over what we just discussed. So I let them know that if this continued, I'm going to be contacting the authorities next, because at this point, you're telling me that you've addressed the situation. Yet after each time you address it, they'll quiet down for a day or two and then they immediately start up again. So at this point, they're aware and they're making a choice to continue this behavior, which means it's harassment at this point, and I need to document this with the police. So that's what I did as of yesterday. Literally from after sometime 11:30 a.m. in the morning till the time I got off work at 8 p.m., boom, boom, right up under my desk and my seat where I sit to work. I already have a high stress level job. I am autistic. Um, I have sensory issues, and having to struggle through working and dealing with these random jolts of boom every few minutes, it's stressful. And it really hurts me that somebody would put that much intention into hurting someone that they don't even know. I don't know this person. I have no idea what they look like. I don't know if they know what I look like. So it makes it pretty scary for me. I'm a single woman. I live alone and I don't bother anyone. I don't. If you don't bother me, I don't bother you. And that's just how I live my life in general. I live in solitude and I prefer it that way because I do enjoy peace. I chose this particular unit because it was so peaceful. Honestly, just in the complex in general, it's always really quiet around here. My neighbors that live here on the same floor with me, you never hear anything of them. No, nothing, not a peep. They come in, they come out. They're cordial when I do bump into anyone, and everybody just minds their business, other than this person below me. And my spidey senses have been tingling that maybe someone is putting them up to this, maybe due to the relationship they have with management. That's why they are taking the complaint seriously and they're continuing to do this. We are now in January. So this morning I got up, I followed up with the officer I left a message to follow up with the officer that came into my report last night, because he said that after he spoke with me, he was going to go down and speak to that resident as well. So I just kind of want to know what happened with that. So I'm waiting to get a call back from him today. I also followed up with the management in email to let them know that I had contacted the police, and I reached out also to this manager's of this complex's regional manager. I contacted their corporate office and I got her information in email, and I sent her a nice lengthy email this morning as well. So at this point, I'm just waiting to see how things go. And I'm here creating this video. It's Friday afternoon now, I think. I would normally be working, but I actually took the day off just to kind of relax my nerves from everything that happened yesterday. Um, I don't get it. People are just evil. Like, I don't understand. Like, I've done nothing to no one here. I don't know anyone to do anything, and I don't get it. So, another thing, unfortunately, looking up YouTube videos on like neighbor harassment or neighbors stalking neighbors, you would be, well, I was surprised because this is my second time dealing with this now. So that's kind of how I had the knowledge of knowing how to deal with this situation immediately rather than letting things linger like I did in the first situation because I hadn't dealt with it before. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was happening. It was very jarring. It was very um, just like, what the F is going on? Like, it was a complete mind fuck. Or, excuse me, can I say that? It was a complete mind bleep. And I know I can sit here and share this story with you now, but it hurt me in so many ways. And I still tried to see what the message was in dealing with that situation was for me. And I felt like one of the big things I got out of it is that I must stand up for myself. And being the person I am, I've always been the person that roots for the underdog and fights for, anything that I see wrong. But I very often did not fight for myself. So this time I took a stance and I said, you know what? I'm not just going to let this happen to me. I'm going to take action and, oops, and I'm going to start taking action right away. And so that's what I'm doing. So I don't know if this is happening again because God is trying to tell me that He needs me to, strengthen up in this area and fight for myself as I would for anyone else. But that's the meaning I'm taking from it. It's helping to keep me sane. And I know that I'm a child of God. I know He loves me. And I know that I do have a very small circle of people who do love me as well. And yeah, humans unfortunately aren't my favorite species because of stuff like this and because of things I've dealt with in the past. I prefer solitude, animals, and nature and yarn. I love to crochet. So those are my favorite things. And it would be nice to meet a few folks that are like minded, spiritual, free spirited individuals that aren't trying to harm anyone or get over on anyone, but it seems like that is very rare these days, and that's really sad. So, this is a long video. I just wanted to give an update and hopefully shed some light for others that may be going through this, is that you can fight through it. And I plan to come back with more videos letting you guys know what's happened since today. We'll see. So I'll be sharing that with you guys as well. Take care.